As a business owner, I have found out through trial and error that it's really important to seek out efficiency, not only in your day, your month, and your year, so that you can reach those goals and stay sane while you do it. So, in this episode, I'm going to share a system that I use to stay efficient and so that I can grow my business and stay sane while I'm doing it. But you know the drill. I'm going to share all that in just a second, and you need to stay right there if you want to hear what I'm going to say. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, a civil engineer and attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade for All Seasons, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Hello, Virtual Nation. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Waist Up Wardrobe. We are on episode 115, and we're going to be talking about a topic that is really important and should be important to all of us as entrepreneurs. It's about how to be efficient in business and how does it become an efficient entrepreneur? Because the reality is we're doing so many things. We're juggling so many balls at the same time in the air. And if we're not efficient with our time, we're either going to get burnt out or we're not really going to reach our goals in the timing that we have for ourselves and reach our goals in the way that we want to, right? So first, I want to say thank you for being here. And I also want to say that this is a very interactive show. We want to hear your comments. Please let us know what you're thinking. Ask us the questions, and let us know if there's anything that comes up for you, if you have any aha moments, if you have anything to offer our audience as a tip on these topics, please chime in because we want to know all you have to say. And we appreciate you being here. And we are on a lot of social media platforms. So definitely you can listen to us or watch us in many, many forms. We're on iTunes, of course, so you can hear us while walking and strolling along the beach. Or you can watch us on Facebook because all the replays live right here on the Facebook page and Waist Up Wardrobe. And we're also on YouTube. And we stream live every Thursday at 11:30 religiously to bring you a new fresh show every single week. So know that and join us and invite a friend. You can also rate us and review us on iTunes, which would be fantastic, of course. So I also want to say thank you to my super awesome producer, Rick Moscoso, who's always in the production room making this entire production possible. There he is, saying hello, but he's going to join us on the show because he is a dynamic entrepreneur in his own right. And I know he'll have a lot of light to shed on some of these thoughts and ideas that I want to share with everybody. So when I started business, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. I feel like, we are as business owners, we take this risk and I am kind of risk adverse. It's not something I would normally do. But when I started my business, I went against the grain of my nature. I was like, I'm taking this risk. I'm taking a bet on myself. But I really didn't know getting into it what everything, what the business world had in store for me. And I got to learn by going through the journey and by the process. And one of the things I found is that in order to be efficient, in order to stay happy in my business, I had to be efficient and I had to build in systems to stay efficient. And I would love Rick's take on this. And if you have found this idea of being efficient, Rick, has ever been something you've thought about, or if it's something that you actually practice.
Oh, being efficient? Absolutely. I mean, we're all jamming for time, right? And we have to be efficient as entrepreneurs. We have to be organized as much as we can. And, we've talked about this before, about being organized and really having a plan in place so we're not stumbling along the way and trying to fill in things just to fill in things, right?
Right, right, right. I mean, I have to say that we're not always perfect. Sometimes there are days like that where we're stumbling along, and
Mhm.
efficiency, of course, is really important. That is a topic, but it's more about the things you build in as a business owner to be efficient.
Yeah.
Because, it's the habits, it's those little things that you do as somebody who really has a lot of hats to wear that can make it a little bit easier. One of the things that I do, which is kind of my number one in this top 10, is having a morning routine. And although that doesn't seem very business related at all, and many of those tasks I do aren't very business or related, they get me grounded and centered. Do you do you have a morning routine, and do you think that helps you in business?
Oh yeah, I don't know how long ago I learned this, but I even saw this in the military, right? The is and I do this with my son
Yeah.
'cause that way he feels like subconsciously he feels like he's done something. And that thing is as soon as you get up, you get ready for the morning, you first thing I have him do is make his bed,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
get in the habit, and then that way, okay, I've completed at least one task at
Mhm.
the top of the day.
Yep.
And it's a simple thing, and not only that, it keeps his room a little neater than it usually is for a teenage boy, right? So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
how about yourself though? Do you have any habits that you really build into the day? And I totally get what you're saying, right?
Mhm.
Like as simple a task as making your bed makes you feel accomplished. It makes you feel like you've already completed something. And I think that's the idea, right? It's kind of getting your mind in the right place.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do that too. So I'll make my bed, then I'll grab a cup of coffee, and I usually sit outside
Mm.
and just looking to the birds, and even if it's, it's probably 5-10 minutes, I'll sit out there, have some coffee, and just kind of sit and think about before I even think about the day, I just kind of just take it all in,
Yeah.
and have that quiet time for by myself. And um it just kind of puts me in that right mindset where, okay, I feel relaxed. I know that's going to be a busy day, but at least I'm starting out with a pretty good attitude. I feel relaxed. I'm ready to take on the day.
Yeah. And it's sort of meditative in a way, right? I mean, some
Mhm.
people's routines are meditative. And so just being outside with nature, just kind of taking it all in, gives you that chance to be grateful and just kind of take it all in and sit with it and sort of to clear the mind.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's I before I got into business, I was pretty inconsistent what I did in the morning, right? I
Yeah.
found it became stressful, it became unpredictable, and I found myself like really tired like midday.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out why until I got into a rhythm of starting out my day with something that was consistent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so I'm going to share my morning routine. And it's so interesting. I built in this morning routine. It's kind of like a 8-step process. And I kind of overwhelmed myself by building in too many steps. My morning routine. But I wanted to do all these things and I kept thinking, okay, I might not be able to dig deep into each one of these things. Like if I just spend 5 to 10 minutes on each of these, I feel as though at least I did it. And it doesn't have to have any pressure attached to it, any judgment attached to it. It's just whatever I can get done. And it's evolved. But one of the first things I do, of course, I wake up and I make my morning coffee. And that is like my world every day is bookended by two rituals: my morning coffee in the morning and my warm bath at night. And that gets me really it gets me really set up for the day, something to do to kick off the day and something to end the day with that can calm me and get me settled in for the night. But the morning routine starts with a cup of coffee, of course, and then I have a habit of always every day religiously checking my bank accounts. Now, I know that can sound like it is a little bit could be stressful because it involves, business and numbers, but I feel as a business owner, it's really important to be connected to your numbers. And I feel like when you do it more frequently, it's actually less stressful as opposed to looking at it once a month and then you're like, oh, I don't want to look at the credit card bill, right? Rick, I really want you to be chiming in here. So stay on stage here because this is like, I don't know if anybody else could relate. And I really want to hear what you have to say. But so the checking of the bank accounts is like key for me. And I spend like 10 minutes in the morning checking my bank accounts, checking my credit card. And then I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at with my numbers and now I can move on. Then I spend some time reading my book, whatever book it is I'm using in the or reading in the moment. Currently, I've actually picked up a book that I'd read in the past called Unbeatable Mind by Mark Divine. And so it's a book that at one point I'm going to do a book review on because it's one of my favorite books. And not only is it one of my favorite books, I really have used a lot of the takeaways from there throughout my training, my training and life really. So I check my bank accounts, I read a little bit of my book, I do a Facebook post early in the morning so I can get that out of the way because I need to connect with my people. And then I might be ready to go to my workout. I really feel my training, my workout is part of my routine that I will never give up. I do it as as if my life depends on it. I don't miss it. And if I miss it, if I have to miss it one day, I make it up because it really gets my mental state in the right place because I get exerted physically and I feel as though like that gets me ready for the day. Then after my workout, I might come back and finish my routine because I have included in my routine a time where I will work on morning pages, which is sort of that that putting down your thoughts right when you wake up. And I should be doing it really first thing in the morning, but guess what? My bank account, that takes precedence first. But it's sort of putting down all the thoughts that come to your mind um, in the morning so you can get all that stuff out so that you can clear all the stuck energy and really be focused the rest of the day. And it's morning pages is something that I learned from the Artist's Way book, which I'll be doing a book review on at some point as well. If we haven't already, which I'm pretty sure we haven't, but that's like one of my favorite books. Actually, it might be my actual favorite book. And then I have this thing that I'm doing where I'm trying to write a full handwritten version of the Bible before I leave this earth. I just want to kind of leave this handwritten version. So I actually spend some time transcribing some of it. So that's my morning routine and it gets me really ready for the day. It takes probably start to finish, not including my workout, probably an hour because I don't spend a lot of time on each one of these things. It's like 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And then I feel great. Rick, what do you think? Any of these resonate with you, especially the checking of the bank accounts? If you are there, we'd love to hear your side of the story.
Oh, well, I'm not as fanatic as you are checking that.
Yeah.
I I I maybe do that once a week. I don't know, maybe more
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
But no, I that's a little crazy, I think.
You know what? It keeps me really focused on my goals, and it keeps me
Yeah.
very connected to what's going on. I know
Mhm.
once a day is pretty extreme, but I always feel for me personally, and all these, of course, are personal tips, right? They're not,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
take what you think would work for you, but for me,
Mhm.
it keeps me connected to my goals. It keeps me focused on, okay, I can't really invest in this month or this week. I have to wait till next week, that kind of thing. And it just has worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's different like you said, it's different for everybody,
Yeah,
and, I got in the habit, like, a long time ago, when I started in my sales, in my corporate career is to, the night before, I always would create a checklist for the to-do things during the
yeah,
day during the day for the next day, right?
yeah,
And then would try and prioritize what I needed to get done right away, what um what I could work on that maybe was more of a long term would take longer than a day or two to get rid of, and then stuff that um and then stuff longer term than that. So that way I could get back to clients right away the next morning. I could, move forward on projects that I was working on, and kind of keep my inbox empty as
Yeah.
possible. The thing that you hate to see is I turned off the inbox count, right? Which is ridiculous because, if I had that on, it'd be like 40,000 emails. But if I do have anything, it's a notification of how many unread, emails I have. And I get in the habit of saving stuff and or remarking them as unread because I know I'm going to come back to them.
Yeah.
But for me, it's stupid crazy because I currently have 411 unread emails, right? Out of that, maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen max are something that I need to act on. I've just been saving stuff to just because I didn't have time to read it at the time, but then, that list keeps stacking up.
Growing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keeps going. So, and then you end up spending a lot of time going back, and it's like, I really didn't need that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, that is so true. The inbox is one thing that does grow, and that if you build that into maybe your habit, your routines in the morning, it could really help you stay efficient and stay on top of that, which I think is
mm,
a great idea.
yeah.
So, morning routine, right? We've covered morning routine. For me, it's the 8 steps. For you, it's your cup of coffee out in nature. And that is sort of I think that for me is my foundation to get started in the day and stay on task and stay grounded. The second thing is sort of the working out, right? I know that's part of my habits in the morning. But the thing I wanted to highlight with the working out and training, I really do feel like there's old adage, right, of a healthy mind is in a healthy body. And we're not talking about being somebody that needs to go run a marathon or somebody that is training like a crazy person every day. But we're talking about movement, something that moves you, right? So if you're somebody who loves to hike, like really building that into your week is really important for your mental health, right? Because the physical exertion gets your blood circulating, it keeps you healthy, and it keeps your mind healthy and keeps you sharp. Because I believe that training is when you're in the gym and you're training, or if you're exercising in some form, really how you're acting in that workout informs the things that you do in life. Because, I think there's this huge metaphor between training your body and working in business. It's, when you're training your body, you need grit. You need to be able to push through. You're going to fail, but you can't. You pick yourself right up and you try again differently or harder or in a different way. And all those things are true for business. And Rick, I don't know if you have any input on that, but seriously, everything that you do in training your body, whatever movement you've chosen, whether it's golf or hiking or swimming or walking, whatever it is that moves you, and doing it with this integrity, with this feeling of like, I'm going to get something out of it, has so much of a metaphor to how we work in business. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm a I'm a big golfer. I haven't golfed probably in like 8 months now because of I'm gonna have surgery on my shoulder, but that's another issue. But training myself in golf, you have to be very disciplined. It's very repetitive, but it's very challenging because one shot is never exactly the same as the next one, right?
Yeah.
And so you just have to. There are some basics that you have to train yourself to do and just be disciplined at just doing it over and over and over. And so with that mindset that I've drilled into my head over many years, um, I've learned to be able to implement those practices or those same concepts when in everything that I do when I sit in front of my computer, if I'm editing at the time or if I'm helping a client. um, you kind of ingrain yourself into a not only a habit but a system that will help you be more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah. So that training of the body is really, really great. And I know this next one that I'm going to bring up, you do a lot. I mean, you follow pretty religiously, I think. But it's number three is turning it off during the weekend. Turning off work during the weekend. And I used to be terrible at that. Like I love what I do, right? And we all do. Like as business owners, we love what we do, so it doesn't feel like work. So you always want to be doing it, thinking about every minute of the day. But I have found that, as my business has grown, and I'd love to hear your take on this, as my business has grown, that being available for clients, as much as I love to do that, can be very taxing, especially because I have a life outside of my job, right?
Yeah.
So I made a decision for at least Saturday to kind of not think about work. And sometimes the thoughts will creep up like, oh, I got to get that done. I got to get that project done. But I'll turn it off because I do need to almost forget about work completely, at least one day a week, so that I can feel fresh again for the beginning of the week. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I mean, yeah, you'd love to get back to every message that comes to you over the weekend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And somebody, I forgot how long ago it was. Oh, I know. So we had a meeting one day. That again, this goes back to my corporate days,
Yeah.
and there was a guy who came in to talk about time efficiency, basically time blocking your day.
Yeah.
How to organize your things during the day, because as salespeople, there's a gazillion things going on, right?
Yeah.
Opportunities that you have to follow up on, and all that stuff. And then by the end of the day, you're just exhausted because you've been chasing your tail around trying to haphazardly answer all these calls and emails and all that stuff. And um, I thought this was a little extreme. I never implemented this, but what he suggested is that on uh, voicemail, right? If you couldn't pick up your message, or if on your return receipt from an email, that you would say, I'll be answering, I would be answering, sorry, I can't answer your call right now. I'll be answering my emails after 2 o'clock today,
Hmm.
and returning your call, or I'll be answering your email by a certain time. Like there was a time block when he said, this is when I'm going to be answering emails. This is a time block when he said, this is when we're going to answer, or where I'm going to answer voicemails from the morning. And so uh, a lot of people tried to do that, and for some it worked. For me, it just didn't work out that much.
Mm.
But what it taught me is that I really had to time block and organize um, my responses to all the questions, all the calls, and all that stuff, and also juggle a family at home, and not feel like not feeling like I'm working in front of the family when I'm supposed to be there with the family,
Mhm, mhm.
and so now that we have these iPhones, or these smartphones, you can schedule your ringer to stop ringing after a certain time, and then resume in the morning. You'll still get the messages, you'll still get the notifications, but um I just turn it off. In fact, I hate phones that ring. So my for years, my phone, I always put it on silent. It'll buzz, and so like in the evenings. Okay, so mine turns off. My scheduled, I forget what you call it. My scheduled time when the buzz when the ring when the vibration turns off is like, I think it's like 8:30. From 8:30 till 7 o'clock in the morning, doesn't it doesn't buzz, right?
Yeah,
But if I happen to look at the phone and I can see everyone that called in or text me, and if I want to respond, I'll try and avoid it, but sometimes I just have to.
yeah,
So I found that I was became very disciplined, and customers, repeat customers, and people that would always communicate me, kind of knew my window of when I was going to respond. Because typically during the day, if somebody emails me and I'm not in the middle of a meeting or something, I respond like right away,
yeah,
on a text message. And
yeah.
so
No, it's
sometimes you just have to do that.
yeah, you do have to turn it off sometimes because then it's just so much, right? There's so many things that you have to do. But I love the idea of just telling a client or responding to an email that with a quick, I got it. and I'm going to respond to you. But just acknowledging receipt of it really does help the client feel like at least they know you got it.
Mhm.
So, if you have to wait to respond to them, they're not anxious about that. So I think that's a great idea. And so I used to think I'm going to take the whole weekend off, Saturday and Sunday, but I started finding, because I love what I do, that I couldn't do the entire weekend. So I take Sunday off from work and Saturday off from work and half of Sunday. But I built in a fourth habit, which is basically what I call Sunday night prep time. So I'll take an hour after dinner on Sunday to go through my week schedule and see who I'm meeting with for the week, what I have to be ready for with them. If I'm speaking at a speaking engagement, just making sure my ducks are in the row for that and what I have to do to get up to speed and ready for that. But I spend a little bit of time on Sunday night prepping for the week, which takes so I'm stealing a little bit of time from the weekend, but I'm doing it at the end of the weekend, and it just helps me settle in to the rest of the week. Do you ever prep on Sunday night? I know you said you prep a little bit the day before, but how about Sunday nights?
Yeah, on Sunday night, yeah, I'll do that. Towards the end of the night, after we've done what we're gonna do on the Sundays, and it's typically later on, just before, maybe an hour before we go to bed or something like that. I'll just do a quick checklist of I'll do a quick check of emails of see if there's anything urgent that I need to respond to in the morning, and then just kind of plan out my day on and line up things in a general sense. I don't do it in a detailed sense, because then I'd be sitting there till midnight doing that. Um,
Yeah.
but I do take it. I do a quick once over and jot down my priority list for the next day and
Yep.
for the week. So
Yeah. No, I find it to be a really good thing to stay efficient,
yeah.
stay on target.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you don't want to do that on Monday. First thing on top of the Monday, you get into Monday after your wake up routine, and then now you don't feel like you're organized. You
Right,
feel
you feel like you get hit by a freight train if you wait till Monday
yeah,
to look at your schedule, right?
yeah, right.
Totally, that's the reason why I started doing it.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So, number 5 on my list is this is something that really changed my life. Delegating the easy stuff. I used to wanna do everything myself, everything, every little thing. And then what I realized very quickly is I don't have time to do everything I need to accomplish in order to run a household efficiently, to run my business efficiently. And the best thing I ever did was hire an assistant to be my right hand and started delegating to her easy stuff like please go pick up my laundry. That stuff that has to be done in order for me to have the time to be creative in my business and go and talk to new clients and so forth and serve clients. Things about even like meal prep and things like that keep me healthy, that are easy for somebody else to do to help me out. And it was like the best thing I ever did. And delegating the easy stuff is pretty easy. It's easy to ask somebody to go run errands, to send them to the post office to mail things for you, or to go pick up laundry or things like that. It's the hard thing is number 6 here on my list, and that's delegating some hard stuff, right? Delegating the things that you think you can only handle. You're the only one that can actually manage that. So what happens is in my business, I get projects to do projects, and sometimes it involves learning a certain program or learning a certain method. And what I found that I have a very smart assistant and a very efficient assistant. And what I found that if she can learn some of these systems and then give me a tutorial on it for 20 minutes, I'm golden. And then my life is so much easier. So I love this idea of delegating certain projects, learning, having somebody else learn a program and then helping me figure it out instead of me having to reinvent the wheel and spend my time figuring out technical stuff that really isn't my zone of genius. I want to be doing the creative design. I want to be going out and talking to people about how we can up level their brand and up level their image. And that is better time spent for me doing that rather than trying to figure out a program that I can use to organize somebody's closet with, right? I just need somebody to figure out the program and show me how to do that. So that was number 6 on my list of things that have helped me be a better and more efficient business owner. Number 7 is kind of piggybacks on this. And what I found is as I've hired people throughout the years to help me is that sometimes I really hire for character. I want somebody that I have chemistry with. I want somebody that I enjoy being around because they're sort of in my workspace, and we're in each other's, we're just like kind of around each other a lot. So I hire for character, for integrity, for honesty, for those kind of traits that are hard to teach. You can't teach integrity, right? And I feel as though if I hire for that, I can teach them anything, any system in my business, any process. That's not a problem. But what I've found is that some people have different levels of genius, obviously, right? So I might hire somebody to manage my inventory, but I might come to find out that they really don't like computers, they don't like Excel, and that's kind of a problem. But they are great writers, so they might be able to help me write my blogs or help me start, doing research, and that's that seventh point of efficiency that has helped me build efficiency is really knowing who my team members are and giving them projects that really are in their zone of genius rather than giving them a project they would hate to do or aren't capable of doing as well, and then them wasting their time and then in turn wasting my time. And I don't know, Rick, if you have any opinion on this, but it's so interesting. Like these last three that I mentioned, the delegating the easy stuff, delegating some project like stuff, and then getting taught by your team members of how to do it, and then targeting their zone of genius kind of go together, right? It's like all those things build an efficiency into your team and in turn into your business. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. If you're a soulpreneur, then it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, you could always pay somebody to do those little tasks, like a
Yeah.
VA or an assistant or something like that. But yeah, you definitely don't want to do everything. No, there's
Yeah.
no way. As a I'm a president of a charity group here in town, and there's no way I could run our facility without a team and without committees and without the resources of being able to delegate all those little things so I can focus on making our organization profitable, moving it in the right direction, keeping it community minded, all those different things. I mean, I last year before I took this role, I looked at that, and because we were coming out of COVID, we were trying to transform everything, and we found ourselves killing ourselves because we were trying to do everything in the way that we would know that we wanted to shape it. Um, and then after many months of doing that, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like uh, I need to take a 2-month vacation, you know. So if you have the resources to delegate, I definitely would do that. Simplify your process so you can really focus on what you're trying to do, and if that's closing deals, if that's selling more products, if that's getting yourself in front of a bigger audience to expose them to your product or service, that's really what you should be doing. All
Yeah.
these little things are just going to bog you down. They're going to frustrate you. They're going to take you away from your bigger goals of what you want to do with your company, or how you want to grow your company.
Yeah, 100%. And that's about not getting stuck in the weeds,
Mhm.
of the business, really knowing where to take your efforts and direct them, as well as the efforts of people that might be working with you or for you, so that you can really, reach those goals. And as I go down my list, I found that those three, just delegating the easy stuff, delegating project like stuff, and then really helping people that are working with you or for you in their zone of genius, so that it's more efficient, have been really tied in together. The next thing, which is number 8 on my list, is content creation. So I create a lot of content, as many entrepreneurs are doing now, like reels for Instagram, videos for marketing, branding videos, TikTok videos to promote the business. So much is going on in terms of content creation. Even the show right here is content, right? That we are creating. I spend time just creating content. Like maybe it's like Monday morning, certain kind of content for the week. So I really do spend time creating content, whether it's on Facebook or Reels or whatnot. And so blocking some time to create the content really does help, because you know that you're going to be, probably if you're on camera for it, you need to be dressed up, hair best face forward, makeup, that kind of thing. So on a day when you are feeling really great about being camera ready, sitting down and really knocking out a bunch of content. And I know, Rick, you have something to say about this, because we've done this together before, where we've actually created content together. You've come to my workroom. We've, recorded multiple, videos when I was ready for it, camera ready
Mhm.
for it. And those were more the formal videos, but being ready and just knocking out multiple things rather than just focusing on one thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you are organized enough and you've planned ahead, for instance, let's say you do a podcast, you want to do a podcast, or a video or a live stream or something like that, and
Yeah.
you don't necessarily want to do it live. Well, that shouldn't stop you, because you can sit down if you have a show that's maybe, let's say, half an hour, right? And you can carve out 2 hours with somebody who can record you, or if you're knowledgeable enough, you can do it yourself. You can knock out 4 shows in a couple of hours, and have them ready for the month, right? And
Yeah.
so if and it's just a matter of understanding the content that you're going to talk about. I had a realtor who and he's been on the show a couple times, I believe. uh, when I first started doing his video production, he wanted to do really quick 5-minute things, right? Because he was sending out to like 20,000 people on his email list, and he wanted to make sure it was short, concise, powerful, and applicable, right, to the housing market and
Yeah.
things like that. And so he's like, okay. So I went over to his office, and it's like, okay, what do I talk about? I go, are you kidding me? We got
Yeah.
2 hours to film stuff, and you don't know what to talk about? And so we were looking around, and he goes, "Do you have any books on real estate?" And he goes, "Hold on a second." So he goes over, he picks out this book, and it's 101 questions buyers and sellers can ask a real estate agent. I go, "Okay,
Yeah.
start paging through that." So I started pulling off topics, and I go, "Can you do this one?" He goes, "Yeah, I can talk about that one, sure." So we'd knock out a quick 5-minute video, right? And then here's another one. Knocked out another video. And by the end of the 2 hours, I think we had like 15 videos. So he
Yeah.
was good for the quarter, right?
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's exactly what I mean when it comes to efficiency in time blocking time to create that content, right? You've got a captive amount of time, and you're gonna knock out enough content for, half a year,
mhm.
because maybe you're dripping it out at once every 2 weeks, every week, or whatnot. So that is such a good hack for entrepreneurs who really need to be creating content all the time, is to kind of do it in one fell swoop. So it doesn't feel like you're reinventing the wheel every single time. You have to get ready
Yeah.
every single time to do it,
Yeah.
a 2-minute video,
Well,
right?
and then like what you do here for the show, we started doing this. I can't remember how long ago, but with your speedy recaps, right? We
Yeah.
got that from Molly, and um, I think it's a great technique, because really all you're doing is recycling already recorded content. You're just taking a little snippet where you talk about a key moment in the episode that hooks them to either come watch the next show or watch that episode. And so it's a great way to recycle or repurpose your already recorded content.
Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
So as I kind of go through my list, that was number 8. Number 9 is a technique I learned from another fellow entrepreneur. And that is that sometimes we have a project to complete, but we get kind of sidetracked or we get distracted from it. And what she had told me is that if you take 50 minutes to sit down and really focus on that project and not get up in the 50 minutes until you're kind of substantially complete in that project, you'll find that you can accomplish a lot in that 50 minutes. And I love that. I've tried it and it works. If I don't dedicate a certain amount of time to a given project, then I'll get distracted. I'll look at emails in between. But if I say that I'm just going to focus on this for 50 minutes, and I don't know why 50 minutes works. It seems to be better than 60 minutes, a full hour, and better than half an hour, but 50 minutes is such a sweet spot. And if you just focus on something for 50 minutes, you can actually get so much done on that specific issue or topic or matter or project that you're working on. So that's a really good tip, and it works. It worked for me, and I think it could work for really anybody. So the final number 10 on the list of how to really find efficiency in your life as a business owner. And this goes back to another show we did. It's that big picture vision. It's really having the big picture vision in front of you. What is your big picture vision? What is that big goal you're trying to meet? Remember, you can't really get to your goal if you don't know what they are, if you haven't articulated them, if you haven't listed them somewhere. So that is what a big picture vision does for you. You need to know the goals for your year. Not only do you need to know the goals for the year, you need to know what your smaller goals are, your micro goals. So what are your goals for the year? What are your goals for the quarter? What are your goals for the month? And what are your goals for the day? It's almost like you have to get granular. You have to be able to zoom in and zoom out. And Rick, what do you think about that? Sort of having this, you have the bird's eye view of your big picture vision, which is always in front of you, but you have this capability of zooming out to look at the big picture vision and then zooming into the quarter, zooming even closer into the month and even closer into the day. Because when you have those goals in front of you, you kind of know your direction, you know where you're headed, and it keeps you efficient. What do you think?
You have to do that. I mean, you have to be able to look at your business from a 60,000-foot level, right? And see everything, see the whole field. And to make sure that all the little things that you're doing at ground level are moving you in the right direction, right? And so you
Yeah.
almost have to take a really objective look at what's going on in the playing field, and the only way to do that is to zoom out and look at it from a high level. So
Yeah.
I do that all the time, and just to make sure, or somebody asks me about a certain thing, um, and it's like, okay, I before I answer, if I don't know the question, or if it's a, maybe it's a good suggestion, but it's just something that's going to take me off track, or the team off track, I've got to really zoom out and say, okay, is that a good idea now in the direction that we're moving over the next couple of months? Now that could be good in a couple of months, but it's not good now. So I can make an objective decision and respond in a better way, as to maybe not so much to offend that person, but it's like, that's something we're looking at. It is part of our plan, um, uh, next quarter, but right now this is what we're focused on, and so I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The big picture vision seems to be coming up a lot, right?
Mm, mhm.
So with the hashtag efficiency and shine, and I don't know if you already have that ready,
I
Rick.
don't, but I'll get it.
Okay, the hashtag efficiency and shine. I'd love to jump on a call with you and really start thinking about how to help you as a business owner become more efficient. Now, why is that important? Because you're building a brand, and that you need to have the efficiency in your life so that you can really reach all those goals. And I have some great tips to offer, but we also have to customize how that efficient plan looks for you. So with the hashtag efficiency and shine, we can jump on a call and talk about that a little bit more. And the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up boils down to this: the top 10 ways I have found myself to be more efficient as an entrepreneur is: one, I have a morning routine; two, I don't miss my workouts; three, I turn off my working schedule on Saturdays. I usually turn off for a day and a half on the weekend. On Sunday, I use half an hour to an hour to prep for the entire week before, because it just gets me recharged and reset and looking forward to the week. I delegate the easy stuff, and I've learned to delegate project stuff, that I can delegate big things to somebody that then can actually train me on how to do it, so that it's easier for me, easily consumable, and I can then do what my zone of genius is, instead of spend time trying to reinvent the wheel on technicalities. And I always think about my team members and what their zones of genius are, because I want to give them tasks that they love to do, that they're good at. I don't want to give them tasks that are hard for them, that'll take them so much time, because that's inefficient for all of us. Number 7, content creation, blocking time to content create and just batch creating content so that you have a lot of content to put out throughout a quarter, and you've only taken 2 hours of your time that quarter to get it all produced. And time blocking for 50-minute time blocks have been a really great way to really up level my efficiency and focus. And finally, having a big picture vision and really knowing what your goals are for the year, knowing what your goals are for the quarter, for the month, for the day, looking at it from a bird's eye view, and then zooming in granularly and looking at it very closely down to the day, but really knowing where you're headed on each and every step of the way can be really efficient. A tip to use is think about listing a set of habits that create habits for you in the morning. Because I think that having those habits as a business owner in the morning gets you set off on the right foot, whether it's making your bed and having your coffee and sitting out in nature. If that's all it is, that is a great foundation for the day, and it gets you charged and ready for the day. So building those morning habits. A tool to use is I use my calendar where I actually every morning have my routine built in to a block in my schedule. So I have listed in my routine, workout or whatever my workout is, read your book for 20 minutes, whatever it is that I do as a routine. And I have it repeating every single day so I'd never forget it. And when I do something, I actually check off that I did it. It makes me feel very accomplished. So I would say a great tool to use is your calendar and actually put it in there. Finally, action item. Remember, you need a big picture vision. That's like always our action item. Always have that in front of you. And think about your list of habits that you're going to build into your day to get you started. And there you have it, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up. Join us next Thursday at 11:30 live, where we'll bring you a fresh new show on how to be the best entrepreneur you can be, how to show up professionally on camera and off camera, and really help you elevate your brand. Okay, we should probably do the speedy recap, right?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
And when you're ready.
How do I always start this? Let's see. How do I start it? Want to know how to get on more stage? Is that good enough? I mean, that is the gist. Okay, let me start. Let me do something different. Okay. In episode 108 of Waist Up Wardrobe, get speaking gigs. In episode 108, in episode 108. In episode. And you also want to let them know a short little description. So those are the tips. That went long. Should I do it over again? How you need to prepare and how you can get those speaking engagements on the spot. No, I'm going to start over again. So sit down and brainstorm some topics that you can easily talk about and also educate an audience about.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. It's so weird. The camera, the screen, I look so different. Like it's like a little swashed out a little bit on those videos, right? Is it the light, the StreamYard? Is it Facebook? What is it exactly? Is it the camera?
I don't know, because it could be. Well, I know that Facebook compresses it.
Yeah.
Right. When it goes onto their platform, it plays fine there, but then when I pull it off of there, it's compressed again, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the downside of that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's funny. So I think it just looks different every single time, and we have it on the same setting. So I just never understand that, but it is what it is. So.
Yep. Are you gonna do a speedy recap?
Yeah, let's do the speedy recap.
Okay.
And then I have to jump.
All righty. You can start when you're ready.
Yeah, okay. As a business owner, I have found that, hang on a second. As a business owner, I have found that through trial and error, it is really important to stay efficient so that you can grow your business and stay sane while you do it. Is that good?
Oh, what is so that you can?
So that you can stay sane while you, so that you can. Yeah.
Oh, did you say that? Okay, I must have missed it. Yeah, then that's fine.
Okay. In episode 115 of Waist Up Wardrobe, I share the top 10 ways I have become a more efficient entrepreneur so that I can grow my business and stay sane while I do it and also reach my goals. And the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up in a nutshell boils down to this. There are a top 10 things that I do, and I'll list 3 right here. I have a morning routine. I don't miss a workout because that gets me centered, and I block time to content create. Those are some 3 of the 10 that I'm going to be sharing in this episode. A tool to use is your calendar. Mark in your calendar your morning routine so that it becomes part of your everyday, and you can go through and check mark that you've done it and have accomplished it. And a tip to do is okay, I'm going to start from tip.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I think that was a tip. I'm so confused now. I confused myself. Should I start over that piece again?
Was that a tip, or I thought the calendar was a
Well, I did
tool,
the
right? Or was
tool
the calendar a tip?
tool. Marking the calendar. Okay, I think I'm gonna start over again.
Okay.
Yeah, because I kinda discombobulated it. Okay.
Okay.
In episode 115 of Waist Up Wardrobe, the Waist Up wait. In episode 115 of Waist Up Wardrobe, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap-up Okay. In episode 115 of Waist Up Wardrobe, the top 10 ways I have become a more efficient entrepreneur, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up in a nutshell boils down to this. There are 10 ways that I feel I built into my schedule that help me stay more efficient. And one of the things is that I have a morning routine. That morning routine gets me set up for the day and ready to go. I feel accomplished when I've done my morning routine. A tool I use is my calendar. I actually put into my calendar my daily routine every single day so that I can go and check off that I've done it. Even if it is I got my cup of coffee and read my book while I did it, it makes me feel accomplished and it gets me set up to be a better entrepreneur and more focused during the day. A tip to use is think about what your morning routine looks like, right? I would say go and list it just the way I have listed it on the show and put it into your calendar. That for me solidifies it and it gets me to want to do it and to stay consistent in doing it. And finally, action item. Remember, your big picture vision always keeps you centered. It always keeps you on track. When you know what goal you're headed towards on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, and finally your big picture vision overall in the year and the years to come, you can be efficient because you've got your eye on the goal. And when you have your eye on the goal, you are always really working towards that and you are going to stay efficient.
That's good.
That's good. Okay.
Yep. Let me end this.
All right. I gotta go.
Okay. Yeah. Good one.
wanna
So
kill
let's
the-
talk about future shows
kill
then
the
on
broadcast?
Monday. Pardon?
You want to kill the feed?
Oh, it didn't go. Okay, hold on. End.